Okay, looks like we are up and running. Let me just send a quick message to everyone, tell them that I'm here. Get that out the way. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is round 3 of Tier 3 White, Season 17. I'm just looking for the latest standings for where we are in this tier. So after round 2, which Colin got a double podium for. He got 2 P2s, so the highest scoring driver of the evening in Tokyo Expressway, which is pretty impressive in the McLaren. He is on 61 points, 10 points ahead of Astral in the AMG, and also who is another, excuse me, 5 points ahead of Wack in third place. After we saw some interesting moves for the Alphas in Tokyo. Then we got Deco in fourth place after his impressive showing, a first and a fifth place for him last time out. Then Pyro with his race win, he's in fifth place in the standings, despite only scoring a handful last week. So he'll be looking to bounce back from that. So that's the top 5. And then in the Constructors, McLaren have a 10-point lead over Alpha, with the AMG team still in the hunt as well. So let's okay, so let's go through the grid then. We've got Kenny in the Citroen lining up in last place, but he's going to have a fast start in that Citroen. We know it gets off the line pretty well, so potentially could even be in the top 10 by the end of it. Let's not start the race just yet. Then we got JMS and Zimmer, the two Toyotas in P15 and 14, so not enjoying Watkins, Glen. Don't roast you spinning. Oh, spoilers. Then we got Yuri in the McLaren in 13th. And H-Boss, is this his first Tier 3 race? I think it might be. On debut in the Audi. H-Boss GT and Genesis in the other Audi. Both of them just outside the top 10. I think it's the first time that they've both raced together. They might have had one race each before this. Whack Jamps in 10th place in the Alfa Romeo. Then we got Pasty in the Mazda lining up in 9th. The Mazda is very good around here, but it is quite a twitchy car, so it might be difficult to control. Turbo Boy in the Lambo in P8. Lambo's pretty good everywhere, no exception. Pyro in P7 in the Alpha this time round, and then Deco in P6 in the other Mazda. So neither of them getting into the top 5. Cherry, the second Citroen, is up in 5th place. So again, watch out for the fast start. Then we have the BMWs. So the first one is Harry in 4th place. Astral in the AMG in 3rd. Mason in 2nd place, our championship leader. And Spin getting an impressive pole position after a pretty slow start to the season in terms of racking up the points, but he has shown pace. So it will be good to see if he can carry that on. And yeah, Whack is our lowest guy in the top 5. He's qualified down in 10th place. So let's get going. We've got 15 minutes, 9 laps of sprint action for you. Everyone will be on the soft tyres, I'm pretty sure. So lights out, away we go. It looks like the typical good start for Cherry. He was trying to go around the outside of Astral, but Astral blocks him off. Astral trying to get around Spin, and Spin's also lost that position to Colin, who's had a great opening corner. Spin slots back into 2nd, but he's got Astral right next to him as we run up the hill in Sector 1. This is all full throttle. There might have to be a little bit of a lift. It looks like Spin's going for the move on Colin as well, so it's a battle for the lead on the run down. Spin's gonna have to go around the outside of the bus stop if he wants to get this move done. Both of them pretty good around this straight. Looks like Spin might have won out. Astral was having a little look at Colin, slots in behind. Then we got Cherry in P4 ahead of Harry in the other BMW. Pyro nearly up into the top 6 as well, so good stuff. Pyro and Whack up into 7th, Turbo 8th. Genesis in the Audi up into 9th, and Pasty is 10th. Deco all the way at the back with plenty of damage. Let's see what happened to Deco. Dear. Right. He's in P7. Sounded like someone hit the wall behind. That must have been Pasty, his teammate. Going down into the bus stop, he just gets a tyre on the grass, hits the wall, and gets damage on 3 parts of his car as a result. So that is going to be a long journey back for the rest of the 9 laps to try and salvage at least maybe reverse grid pole. There are a lot of penalties here that he could potentially take advantage of. He's got a lap quicker than the leaders though if he's going to be recovering that gap. So back at the front, Spin has taken about a second gap on Colin now, who's got Astral behind. We've got the top 3 and then a little bit of a gap. Cherry and Harry going side by side. That is why there's a gap forming. Harry's trying to go around the outside. Pyro's going to take advantage of this and try and get the position off of Harry. Harry will get slipstream from Cherry. Actually, he slots in behind Pyro for now. Everyone's very close together in this braking zone. Turbo in there as well, having a little sniff. Everyone getting around fairly safely that time. Pyro still camped right behind Cherry here. So let's see if they're going to start working together. Wack is actually going to get better exit out of that previous corner and gets the position on Harry. So Harry falling backwards in the BMW at the start of this race. He might try and go the long way around this corner to try and get some momentum onto the home straight. Instead, it looks like Turbo Boy, who's going to have a little sniff at Harry. I think he lost a little bit of momentum and he gets a little bump from Genesis, but not too bad. Makes the corner, actually potentially closed him in a little bit on Harry. So we got this big train of cars. Pyro's sniffing all over the back of Cherry there at the front. So we're going to see the cars bunching up together. The top 3, you can see just a bit ahead, are gapped. So they're not going to be fighting each other. We've got 2 alphas and we've got Cherry. Pyro's going to try and go the long way around. Are they going to give each other space? There's a bit of lag involved and a bit of contact. Cherry comes off worse, loses those positions. He's still trying to rejoin and he's back down in 10th. Just 1 position ahead of his teammate Kenny, who started all the way at the back. So some good progress like we predicted for Kenny at the start. Everyone's still going side by side here. Pyro ahead of Harry, ahead of Wack, and then Turbo and Genesis are this group of cars. Turbo nearly losing it on the exit, but he still kept his speed. Here we go. Now this is going to be a good overtaking spot. It looks like Wack got a really solid exit there and already has the move done on Harry. Turbo Boy's going to try and take the inside of the corner as well. Harry sticks it around the outside and gets a great exit. Potentially even better than Pyro's there in front of him and keeps the position well. Wack's going to try and take a tight line. And Genesis, who's given himself a 1.5 second penalty, that'll have been for going wide at the hairpin a couple of corners ago. So that's going to drop him potentially outside the top 10. He's got a little gap, but that's 1.5 seconds is going to be, yeah, pretty brutal there. The battle further back, we've got H-Boss in P11. Kenny is in drop down to 12 now. Zimmer's going to try and overtake him as well. Let's see if Zimmer can get the move done into turn 1. Kenny gives him plenty of space there and actually compromises his own exit out of the corner. Zimmer got a great exit really early on the throttle to get that move done, and now he's potentially going to reel in H-Boss as we head towards the next corners. No, he does close the gap up nicely though. And yeah, H-Boss a little bit out of shape there at the in the corner, and he's going to have to close the door on Zimmer, or Zimmer's going to just cruise on through here. Actually, H-Boss keeps good speed even though he took a wider line through that corner, and Zimmer can't take advantage yet. We're approaching the penalty zone, so let's see what happens with Genesis's penalty here. He's actually being caught a little bit by Pasty on this lap. You can see Pasty's a little bit closer. Here's the 2.5 penalty he's serving, and it looks like Pasty's going to comfortably get through. Cherry is through as well. So Cherry up to 9, Genesis down into 10, so he's still got reverse grid pole as it stands. Not the end of the world, we've still got 6 more laps to go as well. Let's see what the battle going on up here is. Let's ride on board with Turbo. He's got Wack, Harry, who is actually threatening Pyro a little bit here. Might be a bit slow through this corner, and Wack could take advantage. Yeah, and good final corner there for Harry. He's really reeling in Pyro now. They've dropped quite a way off the fastest guys. Spin's in the 44, mid 44s, and Harry's in the high 46s. So that's how much time he's losing compared to his teammate, and they set fairly similar qualifying times as well. This is going to be, well, you'd imagine it'd be quite straightforward for Harry. He's got lovely slipstream up this hill. Wax really close as well, so Wax actually potentially boxing him off here. He hasn't gone for the move on Pyro. Oh, a little bit of contact between the teammates, and that leaves Wack a little bit out of shape. He's still got the position on Harry, and he's getting a bit of a bump from Turbo, who, yeah, he then goes into Harry, so Turbo gets that double position there. Now Wack's still in P6. Harry will be pretty unhappy with that one, I'm sure, and Pasty is now up on the back of this. Then we got Genesis. He's overtaken a couple of drivers. I think it's Cherry who's dropped down again. He's down in 11th. He's got a second and a half to serve here. So H-Boss will get back in the top 10 now. And, oh no, he'll get up into 11th. Ready to capitalise and get that reverse grid pole. If anyone else has a moment. Harry's lost another position. This time it's to Pasty. Genesis right behind him now as well. And Turbo's really close to the back of of Pyro in P4. Interesting lines around that corner. Harry not taking enough of the track, and Genesis taking slightly too much there. Evened itself out in terms of time lost. And it looked like it was going to be a great exit from the final corner, but Harry hit the wall, and Genesis is going to get alongside. Harry just doesn't have the speed as a result of that wall graze, and as long as Genesis, well, he could have been a little bit tighter, but he has the move. Harry's not going to be able to get it back just yet. We do have an overtake here. Pyro's got a second and a half penalty as well. Let's see where he got that. Oh, he just went a little bit too wide on the exit of this corner, which is going to give the second and a half there. Yeah, there you go. Just dipped his all four wheels off the track. He's going to get a second and a half. Now let's see what is happening. Turbo Boy gets a good exit out of turn 1 and gets the move done fairly straightforward there. A little kiss on the way past as well. So what's Pyro going to do? He needs to avoid losing too much time, so he doesn't want to fight Turbo here, because Turbo's basically got this P4 in the bag. Oh, has he? Pyro having to really bail out of the throttle there to avoid collecting Turbo Boy, but that's brought the chasing pack really close together now as well. Yeah, lost a lot of speed in that corner. A little bit out of shape again. So with Pyro, he's currently in P5. He might be towards the tail end of the top 10, if not even lower, because everyone is bunched up now. So on the inside line, H-Boss is serving a penalty as well, so that's going to lose him a position. Zimmer battling Pyro, trying to go around the outside and gets the move done on Pyro. He didn't have any speed in the corner to fight it. Zimmer all of a sudden up into 9th, so that'll be a solid top 10 result for Zimmer. Pyro with a lot of work to do. Everyone is starting to gap out a little bit with these penalties. Genesis still putting the pressure on Pasty. Up into 7th for Genesis after starting outside the top 10. So we're over halfway through the sprint. Let's go and have a little look at how our leaders are doing. Completely neglected them all race because it's been pretty standard. It looks like Colin might be lapping slightly quicker, than Spin. Last lap 45.8. Oh, he's a tenth slower actually. He's just pretty close as it stands. So any mistake from Spin and Colin could potentially get his first ALR victory. Astral in 3rd place as well, pretty much on his own. Then we got that big gap. Turbo Boy and Wack are the last two in the top 5 now, who've survived all the carnage. Then we got Pasty, who's doing pretty well in the Mazda. Like I said, the Mazda's good. He's in 6th, Genesis 7th, Harry 8th. Pyro is ahead of Zimmer. Zimmer going defensive into the final corner, gets a little bit out of shape on the exit as a result. Is Pyro going to chuck it into turn 1? He is close enough. The door's being left open and Pyro is sending it. And that is a very, very good move. Good racing by both of them. Zimmer had the awareness to know that Pyro was going to potentially do that, and there was just about enough space there. So Pyro on his little recovery got a few seconds to catch Harry in 8th. And how's Deco's doing? Deco's already up into 14th, potentially 13th, because Cherry continues his drop down the order. He's down to 13th now. The Citroen's not enjoying life today, but he's kept that position for now. Let's go on a bit further up. Genesis just settled in a little bit behind Pasty now. Yeah, Pasty's not falling off the back of Wack now either. It's more Turbo has a little bit more pace. Turbo's got a second penalty. Right, let's see how this impacts. This is going to be quite huge. It's not the 2.5 seconds that Pyro had, so he shouldn't fall as far down as Pyro did. Wack's going to get past. Is Pasty going to? The braking zone comes a little bit too early, so that's 1 position down for Turbo. This might be the first time in like a year that Pasty and Turbo Boy have been in the same tier. And yeah, they're racing on the same piece of tarmac as well. Turbo will be a little bit disappointed with that penalty, but the penalties are on strict. We did have a vote whether to keep them on strict or reduce them, and strict won, so we roll. Genesis now, he's good. Well, they both took turn 1 a little bit wide, but Genesis slightly better. He's in that period where he's a little bit too close for Pasty to be going up this hill. What he wanted was to be a bit further back so that he could take advantage of the slip. But let's have a quick look at what's going on. Wack Jam's feeling the need to go incredibly defensive into the chicane. Is he going to be able to take it from that tight angle? Yes, he is. And Turbo gave him the space. Pasty taking the chicane a little bit poorly. Got a bump on the exit. Harry is going to go side by side with him down here, and I think Pasty's going to keep it. This is good news for Pyro that all this battling's going on. He's going to catch up to this pack for sure. And yeah, Turbo putting a lot of pressure on Wack as well coming out of this corner. So the Lambo is currently looking very racy. And there is Pyro. He's completely left. H-Boss is up into the top 10, so he's managed to get past Zimmer. So Zimmer falling backwards a little bit now, and look at his tyre wear. That is exactly why he's got 2 more laps to do. He's going to be puncturing next lap for sure if he doesn't come into the pits here. Deco is past the, well actually he just got passed again by Cherry. So is Zimmer coming in, H-Boss GT with a 1.5 second penalty. Zimmer carrying on. So there is a knack to racing around here and not shredding your tyres. But it is a skill that you have to learn. Essentially, what you need to do is avoid trail braking as much as possible. Oh, here comes Deco. It's going to be quite a straightforward one for P11. Yeah, and yeah, basically, if you're braking, brake in a straight line as much as possible. There are some corners where you have to turn a little bit, but the heavy right-handers, which there are a few of, you really need to kind of coast through as much as you can. So once you learn that, you can make it to the end of a sprint race, even in a car with slightly higher tyre wear, like the GR Supra, but Zimmer is going to be struggling a lot. Let's see where his teammate is. JMS struggling equally as much, and they've carried on, so they're going to be potentially spinning here. Here comes Yuri. He's got a 1.5 second penalty. I think we saw H-Boss has a 1.5 as well, so Deco might actually be in the top 10 with a lap to spare. That's how good his pace has been today, so could potentially run away with the feature if he is on reverse grid pole with a pace like that. Harry and Pyro having a battle. at the hairpin. Again, both of them going very deep in the corner. I think if Pyro had nailed that apex, he would have got the position. So a lot of pressure being applied. It's still, the battle for P4 is pretty close as well. Turbo's still all over the back of Wack. Let's do a quick tyre check. We're on the final lap. I think we've got about 20% left on spins. Colin's a little bit better. Very good tyres on Astral, who's on the mediums, by the way. So completely missed that he decided to do the race on mediums. Again, I don't think it was necessary, but if you can't get the softs to last, it's a good option, and he's going to get a podium for it. Here comes Turbo Boy on Wack as we go up the hill. So Wack clearly getting a poor exit out of turn 1, but he's going to have the slipstream and the Alpha's engine to try and get past. In the bus stop, Turbo Boy is the one that's going defensive this time. This is going to be one of the final chances to get a position. Wack is going to slot in. Is Genesis going to come alongside now as well? He can't quite do it, and here comes Pasty as well. There's a second penalty for Wack on the final lap of the race. Absolutely brutal, and here comes Genesis, going to try and stick it round the outside. So Wack's attempts at a top 5, he's going to go from 4th to 7th on this final lap. That is incredibly bad fortune. Now let's just watch as Pasty is about to overtake him. He's going to have too big a gap back to Harry. And Deco, something's happened to Pyro. So he loses that position. He is in puncture territory as well, so a few of these guys are really struggling. And yeah, Pyro's not been able to make the tyres last. Cherry just takes the easiest position he'll ever get, and that's reverse grid pole for Cherry as it stands. And here comes H-Boss, not quite yet, but H-Boss looking a lot more comfortable on the tyres. But let's go back to the front. We've got Spin, who's got maybe a second or two on Colin towards the end of this race, both of them lapping very similarly. Colin on for another P2 here, his 3rd in a row. Our championship leader will extend his lead at the top because Spin wasn't the closest challenger coming into today. Round the final corner, this is going to be Spin's first win in a couple of seasons, I think, so a huge congratulations to Spin, really capitalising on the performance of that BMW. Colin, another P2 for him. Astral is going to get P3 despite that 2.5 penalty, which becomes 2 seconds at the end. Turbo Boy in P4, Genesis in P5, Pasty is going to take 6th, Wack in 7th in the end, managed to tie us a little bit better than Pyro, Deco 8th, Harry in 9th, he'll be very disappointed with that, Cherry reverse grid pole, then we got H-Boss in 11th, Pyro on his dead tyres in 12th, Yuri, who did the whole race on the mediums, in 13th, not quite working out for him, same for Kenny on the mediums, 14th, Zimmer on completely dead softs in 15th, and we know that JMS is therefore going to start the feature race at the very back. The two Toyotas performing well in stints in the race and then falling back with that tyre wear. Yeah, his previous lap was a 54. Zimmer's lap on the final lap was a 56. You missed the Deco spin, but it's there. It's there. We got it. So, let's try and find this feature. Let's see if it's actually updated here, or if I need to go and do a search. Yeah, I think I need to search for it. Nope, we're not in France yet. That's tomorrow's stream. So we need Watkins long, and then a lobby. So it's looking very strong for Colin in terms of the championship at the moment. He does have to start in 9th in this race, though. There we go, that will be the feature. Yeah, the Mazda's always gonna... You're just guaranteed a few spins in the season if you choose a car like the Mazda. But it is good. It is still a good car. I know people bash on it. There's not enough space to complete the process. Oh no. let me restart the game then and see if that helps. If not, I might have to pause the stream and